will try my best. So here it goes. When I was pregnant with Tyler, I found out that he has a congenital heart defect known as hypoplastic left heart syndrome, or HLHS. And before he was born, we were told that he was going to need 3 open heart surgeries within the first few years of his life. So when he was 3 days old, he had his first open heart surgery, known as the Norwood procedure. And within about 6 weeks, we were able to take him home, and he did well. When he was 4 months old, he had his second open heart surgery, and in fact, we brought him to the hospital on Halloween, so that's why we got him all dressed up in his little tiger costume. Again, we were in the hospital for a few weeks, and we were able to bring him home. And then he had his third open heart surgery, known as the Fontan. And again, he had a couple bumps in the road, which is pretty typical, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But we were able to bring him home again after a few weeks. At that point, we had really hoped that we weren't going to need any more surgical interventions, at least for a long period of time. Unfortunately, that wasn't really the case for us. He lasted for about 1.5 years until he was 3.5 years old, and last March, he started to look really puffy. He didn't have any energy, he didn't want to eat. He had a hard time sleeping. He would vomit occasionally. And really, for him to tell us how he felt, all he could really say was, "Mommy, I'm sick, I'm sick." And so at that point, we knew that we needed to take him to CHOP, where, of course, everyone is phenomenal. So as you can see here, we had a nice little ambulance ride from our home in New Jersey out here into Philadelphia. And over the next couple of months, we spent a lot of time in the hospital where doctors did everything they could from a medicine standpoint to support his heart. But in May, it was determined that basically he was in irreversible heart failure, and so we needed to put him on a heart transplant list. And in order to get him to transplant, he needed to have a ventricular assist device placed so that his blood could be circulated by that pump. So this is really where his story as an HLHS kid went from pretty typical to extraordinary. And what's even more extraordinary is that he had a hardware ventricular assist device. And so what that is, the device itself is made and manufactured for adults. And at the time when he had his implanted, he was the smallest person in the United States to have that particular ventricular assist device, and the second smallest person in the entire world. I think that really speaks to what all the doctors here at CHOP are doing. They do their research, and they had the confidence that they could put this device in Tyler. And it's different from the Berlin heart, which is what a child of his size would have typically gotten. And the Berlin heart, if you're not familiar, the pump itself is outside of the patient's body, which increases risks of infection and other things such as bleeding, clotting, strokes, things of that nature. So for them to have the idea to try this with him was essentially trying to give us a greater quality of life while he waited for his heart transplant. So, miraculously enough, within days, he was walking around the ICU. And again, if you've ever known a small child, or maybe even an adult that's had open heart surgery, they don't really want to do anything that you ask them to do. So you might not be able to tell from this picture, but he very begrudgingly was walking through the ICU. But he did it nonetheless within days. It was pretty phenomenal. And on June 23rd, we took him home. Having his surgery, he was home. 2 weeks after that, he celebrated his 4th birthday at home. And we went to the park, and even in December, he started preschool, which is a big milestone for any parent, but for him to go was incredible. So, sorry. What I want to say is, you may not remember where you were on June 23rd when we brought him home, but you might remember where you were on the 4th of July, or Labor Day weekend, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day. All those days we've had him home with us. And so, it's really small, but I just wanted to say thank you. And caring, compassionate people like you who have allowed my son and my entire family to have a better quality of life and to give him a hope that he will have such a bright future today and after his transplant, whenever that will be. So, thank you.
Thank you, Danielle.